in 1 Kings chapter 6 in the King James Version. And it came to pass in the 480th year after the children of Israel were come out of the land of Egypt, in the 4th year of Solomon's reign over Israel, in the month Ziph, which is the 2nd month, that he began to build the house of the Lord. And the house which King Solomon built for the Lord, the length thereof was 80 cubits, and the breadth thereof 20 cubits, and the height thereof 30 cubits. And the porch before the temple of the house 20 cubits was the length thereof, according to the breadth of the house, and 10 cubits was the breadth thereof before the house. And for the house he made windows of narrow lights, and against the wall of the house he built chambers round about, against the walls of the house round about, both of the temple and of the oracle, and he made chambers round about. The nethermost chamber was 5 cubits broad, and the middle was 6 cubits broad, and the third was 7 cubits broad. For without in the wall of the house he made narrowed rests round about, that the beams should not be fastened in the walls of the house. And the house, when it was in building, was built of stone made ready before it was brought thither, so that there was neither hammer nor axe nor any tool of iron heard in the house while it was in building. The door of the middle chamber was in the right side of the house, and they went up with winding stairs into the middle chamber, and out of the middle into the third. So he built the house and finished it, and covered the house with beams and boards of cedar. And then he built chambers against all the house 5 cubits high, and they rested on the house with timber of cedar. And the word of the Lord came to Solomon, saying, concerning this house which thou art in building, if thou wilt walk in my statutes and execute my judgments, and keep all my commandments to walk in them, then will I perform my word with thee, which I spake unto David thy father. And I will dwell among the children of Israel, and will not forsake my people Israel. So Solomon built the house and finished it. And he built the walls of the house within the boards of cedar, both the floor of the house and the walls of the ceiling. And he covered them on the inside with wood, and covered the floor of the house with planks of fir. And he built 20 cubits on the sides of the house, both the floor and the walls with boards of cedar. He even built them for it within, even for the oracle, even for the most holy place. And the house, that is, the temple before it, was 40 cubits long, and the cedar of the house within was carved with knobs and open flowers. All was cedar. There was no stone seen. And the oracle he prepared in the house within, to set there the ark of the covenant of the Lord. And the oracle in the forepart was 20 cubits in length, and 20 cubits in breadth, and 20 cubits in the height thereof. And he overlaid it with pure gold, and so covered the altar which was of cedar. So Solomon overlaid the house within with pure gold, and he made a partition by the chains of gold before the oracle, and he overlaid it with gold. And the whole house he overlaid with gold until he had finished all the house. Also the whole altar that was by the oracle he overlaid with gold. And within the oracle he made 2 cherubims of olive tree, each 10 cubits high, and 5 cubits was the one wing of the cherub, and 5 cubits the other wing of the cherub. From the uttermost part of the one wing unto the uttermost part of the other were 10 cubits, and the other cherub was 10 cubits. Both the cherubims were of one measure and one size. The height of the one cherub was 10 cubits, and so was it of the other cherub. And he set the cherubims within the inner house, and they stretched forth the wings of the cherubims, so that the wing of the one touched the one wall, and the wing of the other cherub touched the other wall, and their wings touched one another in the midst of the house. And he overlaid the cherubims with gold, and he carved all the walls of the house round about with carved figures of cherubims and palm trees and open flowers within and without. And the floor of the house he overlaid with gold within and without. And for the entering of the oracle he made doors of olive tree. The lintel and side posts were a fifth part of the wall. The two doors also were of olive tree, and he carved upon them carvings of cherubims and palm trees and open flowers, and overlaid them with gold, and spread gold upon the cherubims and upon the palm trees. So also made he for the door of the temple posts of olive tree a fourth part of the wall, and the two doors were of fir tree. The two leaves of the one door were folding, and the two leaves of the other door were folding. And he carved thereon cherubims and palm trees and open flowers, and covered them with gold fitted upon the carved work. And he built the inner court with 3 rows of hewed stone and a row of cedar beams. In the 4th year was the foundation of the house of the Lord laid in the month Ziv. And in the 11th year, in the month Bul, which is the 8th month, was the house finished throughout all the parts thereof, and according to all the fashion of it. So was he 7 years in building it. Okay, so there was a lot here in particular. So besides the information once again about the building of the temple and then the size of it and how everything was overlaid with gold. So all of the items that David had collected during his reign and all the free will offerings that the people provided to build this temple. And then here's Solomon, and more stuff is donated, including himself making sure that there's more things to be given to the temple and overlaying it with gold and having all of the tools and everything. Not one stone cutter or not one tool was actually that was used to hammer or chisel was at the temple site. All of the rock work and everything was done prior to bringing it. So everything was pre-measured and pre-done prior to bringing it to the temple, which is amazing, right? And then at the site, that's when they just constructed the things together, and then they overlaid everything with gold. So they had melted down the gold that they had received, not 100% of it, if I'm not mistaken, because there was a lot. He received a lot of gold, him and Solomon and his father, and they had overlaid all of everything that was carved, all the stone, the whole building, the walls, the floor, the doors, everything was overlaid with this gold. So it was very, very shiny. It was very, very just wow. It was a wow. And there's going to be more details to come, particularly. But listen to this too. What was talking about, which was that they got to work on this. They wanted to, Solomon knew that the temple needed to be built. And so the people had the tools. Everything was in preparation and everything came to order. Thinking about that, how even from the first verse, and it came to pass in the 480th year after the children of Israel were come out of the land of Egypt in the 4th year of Solomon's reign over Israel in the month Ziv, which is the 2nd month, that he began to build the house of the Lord. So at this whole time, they came out of Egypt, right? And the Lord had told David, even in his request, that not at any time did he request for a home or a temple or something to be built. But David wanted to build that. And so here it is now. David was able to prepare all the things, get everything, because the Lord made sure that he was able to do these things. And so he was able to get all of these things in preparation for the temple. And now here they are, ready, set, and going to build this temple. And they have everything that they need, bringing past to present. That's a lot. A lot of times we think that we can build ourselves up or build our life up or set a designated time when things are going to move or happen. I mean, I'm a witness to myself when it comes to when I had thought about my life. And, with culture and everything, we when we go through school, we're like, they tell us, plot and plan, and so many in 5 years. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where do you see yourself in 10 years? And we tend to plot and plan things. Why though? Instead of listening to what the Lord has for us and concentrating on having a relationship with him, we tend to already predestine ourselves for many potential failures. Not saying that any of those are attainable, or better yet, be above and beyond those things. But listening to what the Lord has for us, because what the Lord has for us is exactly what we need, is exactly the fulfillment, is exactly meeting those goals that we couldn't possibly even think of, including above and beyond our own expectations in life. And so when we rely on the Lord, the Lord has perfect timing. He prepares us for things in his time. He prepares us, and he's always at work for us. So when it comes time where we are, well, I expect to be in this position, or I expect to even have a family. I mean, have you tried to prepare for a family? How has it been? Has it been successful? Has it been just something that's been tremendously hazardous? Has it been a blessing? Has it been difficult? Has it been just automatic, almost like in steps and going on? What was your relationship with the Lord, or did you have one during that time frame? The same with a job, the same with owning a home or owning a place to stay, having a bed to rest on. The same goes with many different parts in life, including our own peers, our own people that look up to us, providing that type of information, understanding that the Lord is always at work. The Lord is always putting us in places to obtain things, to move things, to be able to step forward and continue to move forward, because the Lord the Lord talks about that throughout the Bible, moving forward. And so here he had everything prepared for the people, and they are ready, and they are now building this temple to the measurement, to the specifications, to the talent that's needed, to the skills that are needed, and doing everything to the Lord, and doing it willfully and at the designated time that the Lord had provided for them. So that is amazing. And it had been, what did this say? It had been 480 years after they had left Israel. That's patience right there. That is a lot of time. And that also shows us too that it can take time. But when the Lord moves, it's in his time, and we're to be prepared and ready, just like the children of Israel were prepared and ready to move forward and building the temple. Let's be prepared for ourselves and be ready for ourselves to be utilized by the Lord in our relationship, in our field of work, in our community, in our family. Thinking about those things, before we continue though, what kind of thoughts or feelings come to your mind when we read over this? How does it make you feel, and what does it make you think?